Hello, this is a video about, it's a overview and discussion of the content of the qtVlm training mode, to go over what it actually includes and what it's changed over the base, or temporarily changed over the base mode and so forth. And so let me start out and show that I have an article here, and I'll put a link in the description, which is more or less what the things I'm going to cover here, except I'm illustrating all of these in directly. And but you can come back to the words and so forth here. And it all gets started back here. This is the page /enc getting started.htm. This is where we load the training mode, and this explains how to do it and so forth. And so here now the training mode is loaded, and I'm on a Mac. It looks, the menu bars look a little bit different. It's the same thing, but the menu bars on a PC are attached right in this window here, and on a Mac they're separate like this. But once you're in the training mode, and when you first install it, it just says download and install. That's the only two items here under training mode. But once you have installed it, then you have here these three items here. And deactivate means just go back. I just clicked it now. Go back to the base picture, and this is what the if you just do a native install of qtVlm, this is what it looks like. It starts in these French waters over here. The background ocean is blue, dark blue. There's many of these icons up here like this, and there's a lot of meters. These are meters for simulation and actual sailing down here and so forth. And so that's what that looks like. And then what we've done is just simplify this and then add some data. And I want to show some examples of what that is. Now back up to the training mode. Now you have another thing. You have reactivate, and the reactivate just goes in and loads it as you left it when you said deactivate. And so, and if I go here and I make a, I make a pathway, let's see, a pen, and I just make a little route or pathway like this and escape, right? So I've changed the training mode. I mean the training mode display already that way. So if I go up here now and say deactivate, if I say deactivate, that goes back to this one here. And then if I go reactivate, then that's going to have what I did. But if you see there's that there, or other things, multiple other changes. But if I say download and activate, then what that's going to do is actually go back and get the original training mode setup configuration data and actually install it again. So it's going to start you from scratch, like everybody in the world sees when they first do this. First do the install. So it'll look like this. It comes up with a vector chart. This is, if you zoom it out here, this is the eastern Strait of Juan de Fuca, between Washington State and Canada. Now, also turned on here, these blue lines and red lines, those are chart outlines, which they have some value at certain stages. I'm going to leave them on for now because I'm going to show you where that might come into play. But later you can see you'll probably want to shut those off. So okay, and so you see one of the things we've done is we've greatly simplified this model here. I mean the number of options that are on here. And then if I shut off the charts, you see I've changed the water from blue to white. That makes some of the overlays and some of the GRIB files and so forth look a little crisper in my mind. So that's why we have chosen that. Also, if you start out here in the, let me go back, training mode, deactivate. So when you start here and you try to turn on any, this is a currents, or the harmonic currents. Well, even if you even if you go to the US. Look at this 1-to-1 button up here. That's always valuable here. Then I can come over. I'm on a Mac, so I'm hitting the Command key, and that zooms in on there. On a PC, it'd be the Control key and so forth. And then I can turn on and show all the harmonic currents, NOAA current forecasts. Well, none of them are there, you see, no currents, no tides, whatever. But in the training mode, reactivate, in the training mode, when you go here and let me zoom out, and well, there's no charts, you don't need charts for currents and so forth, but I turn these on now, I turn on the currents, and I can see all the currents, and I can go on here and say, that's showing the currents at several depths, and then I can also look at the details and see these beautiful pictures of the current forecast. Now, we're going to also, turns out, we're going to have a lot nicer, more effective, more accurate ways to study currents than just these NOAA forecasts. But the same thing is true with the tide gauges, so you can see the tides, the tides and so forth. So that's all built in. This is an international program, so it doesn't come shipped with any of that data. There's also no weather data, no environmental data, no currents or wind speed or pressures or anything like that. So that's one thing that's done. And then when we do start looking at currents and winds and start doing navigation, then we'll be doing maybe some simulation. And when you do simulation, you have instruments. And I forgot to show that if you look at the training mode, deactivate here, you see the meters, all the meters that read the various things, the wind, the pressure, the heading, the course over the ground, apparent wind, true wind, route, course to the next mark, etc. There are a whole bunch of meters, and they're defaulted in this base mode, right down to the line here and at this size. But then let's see, training mode, reactivate. Then what we've done is, and this turns on the instruments, and we've just made it really simple just for doing some very basic simulations. We just have 4 instruments down here in the corner. Now, let me show you, though, you can do like, oh, I forgot. Here's a default instrument layout like this. Here is the very simple one we start out with here in the training mode. All of these can be changed and so forth. But then this goes on to show you how various navigators have set up their various instruments. This is a display of what sails to use under what conditions. These are, you can almost anything that you're showing in a meter or reading, you can also plot out as a graph, like the wind speed, wind direction, and so forth. So that's we've simplified the instruments. Those go on and off with this button up here. Let's see, what else? Marks. Let's see, I'm gonna come back to that on the marks, but let's look at charts. Now, right now, it defaults, when you turn this on, when you first load the training mode, it defaults to showing an ENC chart up here in this region, which is the region of where we do a lot of our coursework up here. Actually, for the time being, let me go in and shut those chart symbols off. I go to qtVlm, configuration, charts, vectors, and here's show chart outlines. I'm going to shut those off. You can also do it, you see, as Control plus Alt plus O. So there's ways to do that. I just didn't do any of those. Okay, so those are shut off now. And then, but these are the ENCs, the only official charts that exist. But in our course and in other courses, people are still using some of the old training charts, which are raster charts, and those are also loaded during the training mode. So if I just go up and shut off the vectors and turn on the rasters for this area here, this is the 18465 raster chart that we use in our inland and coastal navigation course. In ASA, it's called 105. Now, that's what that looks like, but what you might do to make it look a little more realistic is right-click it and say show only this chart. And then that'll put the borders back on, and then you can work with just this chart like this. Now, for those, there's a lot of people, though, that use a chart on the East Coast called 1210TR. Let's see the easiest way to get there. Oh, that's why I had the chart outlines turned on. But if I go here 1-to-1 and then go up here somewhere, let's see, command, where is it? Delaware Bay or something like that, like this. Now let's go turn those chart outlines back on. Well, okay, I'm going to hit some keystrokes here to make it faster. Okay, so I turn those on, and then somewhere we should see that chart. Where is it? Oh, I don't have rasters on. I got to turn the rasters on. There it is. So this is this here then is 1210TR for those who are teaching those are teaching with 1210TR who want to use qtVlm as an electronic tool. Then you have this chart as well. The other thing we can do, qtVlm has a really nice feature of being able to assign to lock in or make to store certain displays of the charts and settings. And I've done it, and that's done with the keystrokes F9, F10, F11, and 12. So I have set F9. I'm pressing the key F9 on my keyboard now, and that's taking me right back to here. Now, and so the other one, too, is we have some other charts, or some NOAA charts stored. They're over here. I put them at F10. They're over on the East Coast. They're vector charts. And I had to turn on vector chart, and they're there. So we have these charts stored like that. Now, the other thing that you can do now again, this is not training mode. This is just a note on the use. This is training mode, means that these are what's already installed here. And then back here is where F9. Now we're back here like this. But let's say you want to load, I'm diverging a little bit for the training mode, and just say, suppose you want to load the charts of your own area, and let's say you live in Miami. So I'm going to go whole world here, this 1-to-1, and then I'm going to, on a Mac, I'm going to put this key down here. Where's Miami? Miami's probably somewhere in here. And then what you can do then is take this button here to define a little selection like that, and then right-click and say install and update NOAA charts. And so what it's going to do is it's listed all the charts that are at that area and the number of installed. We have none of them installed. And then you can sort them by a scale or how far away they are from the boat, and all sorts of things you can do. And then if you want just a few of these charts, or if you want them all, you could just say all. I want all. But then I don't want these ocean charts out here. So you could shut off the ocean charts like that. That's not an ocean chart. And just say install, right? Install. About to install 30. Yeah, okay, go ahead. And this is how long it takes. This is really one of the most powerful features of this qtVlm, is this remarkably nice way that it does lets you load charts for any part of the country. And so now you've got all those charts here, and then these outlines. The blue means this is one chart and that's another chart. The red means these are charts that are underneath there that you're not seeing yet till you zoom way in. And so these outlines have to turn blue. Okay, once those are blue, now I'm actually looking at these higher scale charts. Although that looks like as far as it zooms right there. Okay, so let's see what. Oh no, there it hopped in. I guess I'm doing things too fast with the mouse. Okay, so those are the charts and the chart outlines and the F9, and we went to see the charts. Let's see. Let's look now. Let me quickly go back. I'm going to go back F9 to where we were. Oh, wait a minute. I have to click. Okay, I shut this off. Now F9 takes us back here. Oh, and now let's shut those charts. There's a keystroke which you'll learn quickly, and I'm just going to shut those off. That just takes me to all the vector chart controls at one page. Okay, and now, so the GRIB file. So we have, normally when you go, if I'm in here, training mode deactivate, you know, when you start out from scratch like this, and then you say up here, data, GRIB slot, open, I can load 3 different GRIB files at once, here like this, or this program also lets you combine 2 or 3 GRIB files into one, save it, and then open it up with another more. So you can load tons, but from a practical point of view, you've got maybe 2 wind fields and 2 different wind models and or 3 wind models to compare them, or wind and current and waves or something like that. So but you went here, data, slot number 1, open. What you're going to see is, oh, I must have loaded something here. Okay, I was testing something and I loaded it, but normally this would show up totally blank when you download from scratch. There's nothing there. But when I do the training mode, I reactivate the training mode. Now when I go here and say data, GRIB1, open. Now I have these 3. These are outdated. They're outdated, so whenever we're using them, we have to be careful to set the right starting date. But you have a high resolution wind data and a high resolution tidal current data here, and you can load those. Like if I load the winds, it looks like that, and then and then you'd have to set the time. You'd have to set the time, and then the wind. So you've got wind, and then if you want to, you can go here and turn on this slider, and then you can see how the wind changes with time, like that. There's also makes little videos of it and so forth. But anyway, so you've got GRIB files already loaded, so when you want to start studying the GRIB files, you can do that. There's also the last thing I want to mention is, now I can shut off all the GRIBs here. Well, that's just hiding them. If I do Command W, I can actually unload them like that. They're gone out of there. Okay, these are just showing some of the things that come with the training mode setup. The other thing, there's a couple special things, and the easiest way to see them is this. In the training mode, if you look at marks, normally manage marks, this shows all the list of waypoints and marks or points of interest that you've saved. For example, if I go here, right-click, new mark, I'll call it point of interest, and I'll just say OK, right? That's a mark. I just put it right here. Now if I go up here in marks and say marks management, I'm going to have that one mark I made. No interesting name or anything, something like that, and how far it is from the boat. But what we have, even though there's none here, if you go to the archives and then you see training marks, there's 4 of them, and then you say load into qtVlm with that button, and you say OK. Now you come back and you have your 1 POI plus you have these others. And the 2 I wanted to show you first of all is something called Ectus chart number 1. Highlight it. These are off in the where is chart number 1? I think that's in Timbuktu. Let's go see. Then say center on that. Let's see, where is this? Yeah, this is in Mali, near Timbuktu in Mali, and we don't have the catalog on. We don't have the chart outlines on, so you don't see them till you actually get there. But what this is just a list of all the all the ENC symbols that exist, and then you can you can go in and right-click one, like right-click and vector chart elements, and learn that that's a buoy lateral, and things like that. And this is a day mark. a day mark, things like that. So that's just something that's of interest for your knowledge of learning what the symbols are and what the differences are between one another. That's there. Okay, so let me go back to Marks Management. That's here, a Command M or Control M with a PC. And now I'm going to go to a place called Micklesfirth. Now this is a weird thing. The International Hydrographic Office has made up this fictitious island group off the coast of Madagascar. And we can go there. And this is built into your training tool. And what this is the International Hydrographic Organization that makes and controls the production of all the ENCs around the world. They've also made this fake place that uses all of the symbols that exist, and they've put them in context. And so here you can then go around and experiment. A big thing with the use of the ENCs is the right click and do the vector chart elements to learn what it is you're looking at. And it'll tell you everything on the chart that's at that point you just clicked and so forth. And this Micklesfirth, strange place, is a good place to go and practice on looking at things. Some of these things we don't see on U.S. charts. For example, a lot of countries have very nice contours and land coverage like this. We don't have those on U.S. charts yet. And so we can see what they look like in other places. So that's the main thing I wanted to cover. It took longer than I thought, but there's a lot in that training mode, and it's a good way to get started on all of our courses, or all of your courses. The other thing, too, important is this training mode is made for any school, not just our own, but any school teaching navigation and weather using qtVlm. You're free and welcome to use this initial install to get started. And the last thing I want to mention, when I look at this button, the one says uninstall. Now, uninstall does literally just that. You lose everything you had done in the training mode. Right? If you want to save it and just bounce around, you can deactivate and reactivate. But you do uninstall, it totally removes everything you've done. Also, it takes that little secret file, training.dat, and removes it from the qtVlm folder. So you have to really start back on the getting started page to get going. So there's an introduction to what's there, and then in our or your individual courses, then you can start explaining to everyone using it what's the next step, what are exercises to do with these tools, and so on.